What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video that I haven't done in forever because I don't really make videos on this channel anymore. The majority of what's been on here has been Twitch highlights, so here's something new-ish. I say ish because I did 3 in total streams for this on Twitch before I decided, well, this might be a bit much for me. So here's kind of a reattempt. There's footage that may or may not actually be good. Probably mostly terrible. There are a lot of people who have beat this game. I am not one of them. So let me just start this off by saying what this video is not. This video is not a review, because in order to review it, I think to get a fair analysis of it, you need to actually have beaten the game, and I am nowhere near close to doing that, and I might not ever be able to do it. So, this all being said, here's where this video is kind of going to go. I played this game, and I have a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy... The gunplay is great. The sounds for charging up your alt fire is great. It makes good use of the speaker through the DualSense. So it's cool. It's kind of like, hey, this is your reminder to actually do the thing. I like that. Sometimes I get too involved in battle and I forget to do it anyway, but still, it's a nice little reminder. I like it. The actual use of the adaptive triggers, where you lightly press in the L2 to, you hold it down slightly and it aims in. If you push it all the way, it uses your alternate fire. I think that's really cool. It makes me kind of wish they incorporated the same thing into the other trigger. It just shoots. Or maybe there is something I just don't know about it yet, but I kind of wish they did the same thing with the other trigger, because it's a good use of the triggers. Definitely takes advantage of the DualSense feature, or the DualSense, or really just what the DualSense can do. This is, let's just call it for what it is. This is the first true next-gen title, and even that's kind of stretching it a bit, because there's some... This isn't like the best example. The best example might come when Ratchet Rift Apart comes out. But for right now, this is the closest thing to next gen that the PS5 has to offer, right? So, gladly accepting what we get for this Metroid roguelike sci-fi survival horror, whatever we're even calling it. It's just so many different things combined into one game, and surprisingly, it works out. Like, it's good. I really like it. It's a ton of fun to play. The sound design is on point. Oh, that's the other thing that this game is by a long shot. It's a bullet hell, so it's got frantic combat, but it's also, dodge all the things all the time. It's not quite Ikaruga crazy, but it is enough to really keep you on your game. It keeps you on your toes at any and all times. It's really quite nuts. So you can shoot, you get a dash, you can jump. There's even platforming, which honestly kind of feels bad, because if you screw up one tiny little thing, well, you're just taking damage in an already hard game for like no reason. This is especially a big deal in the first area in particular, and the reason why is because, well, you don't have a lot starting out, and you're also getting used to how the game plays in general. So in order to get used to that, you're probably going to fall a few times, and you're going to have some deaths, not even necessarily from the enemies, but just from falling somewhere. And maybe you don't die that way, but you do take a decent chunk of damage when you accidentally fall somewhere, and that really kind of sucks. But, this game, it's very it definitely gets you involved. It's very atmospheric. Getting stuck in this world that is just really, it's quite the mystery. I don't really know quite what they're trying to do with the story. I do assume it gets explained later on. Plus, if I manage to actually pass more than the first biome of the game, then I think I can revisit the house, or at least that's what I hear. I don't really know. You have to actually be good at the game to get these things. But, you know, the story gets drip fed to you throughout like audio logs and actually progressing with the game, and you know, the things you can find, the like glyphs or whatever, to be able to read different tablets in the game. There's a lot of different aspects to it in that sense. This is all mashed into one neat little package that I really don't understand how it works, but it just does. The game feels so good to play, I feel bad that I can't play it. Now, something I've talked about a lot, whether it be on stream or even probably in the last video on here, value is a big topic for me, especially when it comes to paying for games. And Sony has adopted the whole, you know, $70 game. So, and luckily I didn't pay full price for this one either. I've been avoiding that for the most part this year, unless it's an indie title. But $50-something is still a lot of money. And regardless of what I'm deeming is something I'm probably not going to be able to beat, like this is probably something that is a little too out of my league to beat. I still don't feel like I wasted my money. I am having fun with what I'm able to do. It does feel real bad that I may not be able to beat it, but who knows? That might be wrong some time from now. Because, you know, I definitely have the mentality of, you know, the Nintendo doesn't beat you. You know, just from back in the day. Like, that's just the mentality I go in with for whichever hard game of choice I decide to play. Whether it's you choose the hardest difficulty or some game that just happens to be naturally hard, like a Souls-like or anything of the sort. And this is like that. The biggest knock I have on this game is a knock that probably a lot of people have, which is the simple fact that it's a roguelite, but the game ain't very light at all. It is quite heavy. It is quite the opposite. We can call it a rogue dark, if you will. Can't take credit for that. But we can call it that, right? Like, it's not light. There's nothing light about it. The runs are stupid long. You know, most roguelikes you can jump into and then just jump out of, you know, you got plenty to do. Or you can play multiple games and then just do the plenty more you have to do, move on with your life. Whereas one single run could be the equivalent to like 3 or 4 typical roguelike runs. And imagine if you're actually good at the game, that's probably even more than that. Right? So that's the biggest drawback, and there's no way to like save your progress or whatever, so you kind of just have to put your PS5 on rest mode or standby or whatever, and then just hope that the game doesn't update, or hope that you don't have a power surge. Like, it's ridiculous. Losing that progress would feel real bad, real quick. It sucks. It's actually a huge knock against the game, and something that I honestly feel like it's one of those things maybe you should have included on the box or something, but it is what it is. You know, this is currently what is offered. Honestly, just that one thing makes me kind of feel like maybe it's not necessarily worth the $70 price point. I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that. The $70 price point hasn't been tried all too much in games that aren't like whichever one's tried it previously, and plus this is like Sony adopting it as opposed to Microsoft and Nintendo. They have not adopted this yet, so this is like a real one of the big 3 players for consoles has decided to adopt this, and evidently in some aspects Returnal has not been doing as good as they maybe would have been if they didn't do the price hike. I don't really know. It's too early to tell. But before this goes too all over the place, this game offers a lot that I like. The gameplay is amazing because it's third person. It's my preferred way to play a shooter because you actually get to see more of your character. That said, even though it's third person as opposed to first person, this is a house-marked game, so you're going to run into the bullet hell stuff. But because it's not top-down, there's a lot that you might not necessarily see, and you have to rely on those like little circular indicators, a la something like Call of Duty, where you have to, pay attention to those indicators in whichever given direction that there might be danger coming your way. That's the only way you really kind of like see behind you or able to react to it right away, because you're never going to be able to see everything on screen at once, which is something that really kind of kicks you in the ass, specifically with the second boss of the game, which I may or may not have actually beat by the time this is recorded, because I'm going to record for a bit, and whatever ends up here, and if there doesn't happen to be a clip with the second boss being beaten, or beating the second biome at all, great. Of course, I know this as I'm recording it, so there is success in doing just that. It's not success I was expecting, but it was there. We were persistent. We did go ahead and take a break from the game yesterday because the game honestly kind of got on my nerves. I couldn't really do it. Sometimes it's good to walk away, come in fresh, and then the first try you end up doing it. And then you end up dying to something stupid, like not being able to use the grapple that you just used in previous areas, and literally not get to see like any of the third biome. But whatever, we saw it, right? That's progress. Small victories and all that. But that's kind of where this game is at right now. Would I give it like a 9 or a 10? Probably not. I'd be, with as little as I played, I'd even be as hard pressed to give it an 8, but I do feel like that's kind of fair, right? And I said this wasn't a review, so like this is only based off of the little bit I've played so far. For a game I'm probably not going to beat, I enjoy it quite a bit. It hits all the right chords for me. It combines so much and manages to make it not suck. It's just, it really, you got to know when enough is enough. And I think that's the main theme of this video, outside of talking about it and gushing about it that I haven't already done on stream previously. Because you just have to know and be honest with yourself sometimes about what your limits are. And I do unfortunately think that I'm going to get hard stuck on this game. And, that doesn't make it a bad game. It wasn't designed for me, clearly. Not every game is designed for every person. Would I complain if there's accessibility options in it? No. I can still play it the normal way, as it was designed, and it will not take away from my experience. But I'm also not going to sit here and say it's a bad game just because I can't be here, because I'm just bad. You got to be honest with yourself with these things. So, is it really worth the price point? Kind of hard to say with the incomplete thoughts and not having all the abilities in the game, having just got the hook shot, that's what we're going to call it, the grappling hook, the hook shot, whatever the hell. Barely doing much in the third biome, even when I got the grappling hook. It's really hard to say. But this has been fun to stream and to play on occasion. But I do stress on occasion because the runs just take way too long. That's really the biggest thing. I'll probably play it a lot more, but you really got to not just be in the right mindset, but you got to have the time. Like this game is not respectful of your time. Let's just play it that way. Like I'll just flat out say it. You know, like an important part of games for me now, especially from a value perspective, is a game that respects your time that you put in. And unfortunately, that's a huge knock against it. Like, this game does not respect your time. There needs to be some kind of save feature. A save feature that just saves your progress. Which still, you know, if you die, not like you can state save or state load or anything like that, like an emulator or something, but just something that strictly saves your progress, to where if you turn off the system or something or want to save and quit, you can do that. But when you die, you still lose your progress. Like, you can't just reload it. And your only real saving grace in this game, evidently, in between runs, is you get to keep your... There are some permanent upgrades, which is why it's still technically considered a roguelite, but, you know, I disagree with the light part, as mentioned earlier. You do get to keep some permanent upgrades. And if you beat a boss, you permanently, I think you have to get there, but you permanently unlock that next biome to be able to get to, and you don't have to fight the boss again. You can, but you don't have to. So that's kind of neat. And when you walk into these areas, it does seem like you get weapon proficiency just right off the bat. So it almost makes me wonder what the point of, like, exploring is. If once you beat the biomes, you kind of get something in the beginning that brings up your weapon proficiency anyway. But on that same token, if you kind of just run past a lot of stuff, which honestly I do a lot and probably shouldn't, just to kind of make the runs go a little quicker or get a crack at that new biome or new areas or whatever, the disadvantage to doing that is you might not necessarily get a chest with a higher item, so your proficiency's up, but if you don't have a weapon that is high enough level to go with that proficiency, it doesn't really mean anything, if that makes sense, because your proficiency just lets you, it makes you able to pick up more powerful weapons, but if you're still running around with your level 0 pistol or carbine or anything like that, you know, that kind of sucks. I also don't know, I think there's like 10 weapons total in the game, is what I heard in like one of the reviews I checked out before I actually played this. I've only seen like 4 weapons, roughly. And I can't even remember the name of the one I really like, and I don't even think I got it for any of the footage that we're going to see in this. But I really like, what is it? It's fully automatic. It's, I can't remember the name of the damn thing. It fires really quickly. I really just can't remember the name of it. That just feels bad. What the hell is it? I cannot remember the name for the life of me. It's not the carbine. It's not the spitball, I think is what the shotgun is called. I forget what the pistol is called. The Hollow Seeker, that's the name of it. So, the Hollow Seeker is, it kind of looks like you can use it as a sniper rifle, or at least for one of its alternate fires, because that's something too. Like, alternate fires are cool to use. It's not in the same sense of like something like Unreal Tournament, where it's more like a alternate fire is kind of like a charge shot, because as mentioned earlier, it has a cooldown. So you can use it from time to time, and it's probably really good, but it comes in different varieties, and you can't just use it all the time. If you're able to, with how powerful some of them are, that would probably make the game a shit ton easier. But it's neat. What else can I really say? There's only so much I can say. And I say this knowing that this is probably dragged on to this point, but like, I'm trying to cover as much ground as possible for it. I really love the melee weapon. I like the sword. It feels good to use. Even though it's only gonna like one-shot probably like weaker enemies, it's even somewhat useful against some of the stronger enemies in the first area that happen to spawn in after a while. It's satisfying to use. It helps you clear out certain areas in the game as well, a la Metroidvania style, because you can access areas that you were not able to access before. So even areas that you visited kind of become new in a way because of that Metroidvania type progression where you see these areas, but you can't quite get to them until you actually have the new weapon for it.
The origin of White Shadow.
That's really all I can say. The boss fights are really neat. Oh, they're really engaging. They have each boss seems to have 3 stages, so it's very similar to the multiple stages that you see in, say, like a Souls-like fight, where it's just you and the boss and all the crazy shit that's going on in between, because they will definitely rush you in the face and see what happens, and or cause bullet hell, or smash the floor, giving shockwaves, which is, of course, is something else to dodge, possibly on top of all these other things that I mentioned. Like, there is a lot going on in this game all the time, and sometimes it just gets overwhelming, and you know what? It's okay to be honest with yourself and know when to pull away from these things. And for as much fun as I am having with the game when I pick it up, if for no other reason, not just because of the difficulty, and it's definitely there, but because of how long the runs take, it just it takes this toll on me where I know I have to step away. And that's fine. And I may never beat it as a result. And that's fine too. But I'm going to keep trying, damn it. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. I will see y'all next video. Later.